ever looked in the mirror and the first thing you see is that little tummy pooch? And you're like, oh my gosh, I don't like what I'm wearing. Or maybe you're looking in the mirror and you're aging, and that's all you are seeing. And you're worried about being judged and what are other people going to think about you. How would you like to feel more invincible versus invisible? I want to welcome you to the Style with Significance show, where we talk about how personal style influences your life, your brand, and how you see yourself. And I'm your hostess, Annette Bond. I am a certified image consultant, and I help successful, amazing women just like you. I help you to create a signature wardrobe that is uniquely you, so that you are dressing with ease, you are on brand, and you are getting noticed. So I am so excited today. As you can see, I have a guest with me, my friend Kip. And we have been doing a series for the last few weeks on being seen with confidence. And when I met Kip, gosh, probably a month or so ago, we're fast new friends, and I love that, is we started talking about women feeling invisible. And I just think it's such an amazing topic. As a image consultant, stylist, I talk about the outside appearance, but you are never going to feel that stylish, confident, amazing, put together woman that you want to until you feel amazing from the inside out. And so I am excited to introduce Kip, and we're going to kind of chat a little bit more about what does that mean to be invisible. So welcome, Kip. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Annette. I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah, I am too. So Kip has been coaching and teaching for more than 3 decades. And a few years ago, she decided to change her focus of her coaching practice to serve women in the middle years, because she kept hearing women talk about the same kind of challenges: not finding quality men to date or to marry. And I know that I work with a lot of single women who are kind of in that place. So I'm excited for them to hear this episode. Also struggling with symptoms of menopause. Hey, I think we can all relate to that. And then last, feeling invisible. And that caught my attention. And that's what I'm so excited to kind of expand a little bit more on that. And Kip believes strongly that this phase in a woman's life is not about aging and decline, but instead about freedom and wonderful possibilities. She works with clients to help them reignite their passions and find beautiful new ways to thrive. Oh, you know what? I think that's what women want. They want that, to be reignited and to feel that passion and to feel beautiful from the inside out, I like to say, and in so many different ways, right?
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah. So I'm actually just going to give a little plug, and we're going to talk about this more before at the end, but kind of before we start this discussion, is Kip and I met because she is hosting a fabulous summit coming up, and it is called Wild and Wise Women Over 50 Workshop. So if you're in that age group or you're coming up on 50 and you're feeling, we sometimes describe ourselves in not such a good way as we continue to get older. And so that's, again, I'm just kind of repeating, but that's how this conversation started. So let's start with the topic. And I mentioned this when I first came on here, is when a woman, and I'm sharing this because I literally had this experience, and I had it literally 2 days ago, and it's not the first, is a woman will look in the mirror and she has something fabulous on, in my opinion. And it really is fabulous. And she looks beautiful. And she looks in the mirror, and all she sees is that tummy pooch. And she just like, oh my gosh, you know what? I don't like this. I don't like this on me. I look fat. I look this. I look that. What do you think about that, Kip, as women start talking like that?
Well, Annette, it's it's something that I see also so often in the women that I work with. And I think there are lots of reasons why it happens. But it arises because we humans are meaning making machines. We like to make meaning. We like to understand what's going on. And if there isn't a meaning readily available, we'll create one. And unfortunately, when we create meaning, we often will create a meaning that is negative towards ourselves. So I'm just going to back up a little bit, because what typically happens in our lives when we're young, so this is usually around the ages 3, 4, 5. So we're children. We're so influential at that period. We're so focused on adults, authority figures, parents. The things they say to us have a deep and lasting impact. And sometimes what can happen is we overhear a conversation, or someone may say something to us directly or indirectly, and we hear it, and our child brains not developed enough to be able to rationalize through this experience, we create a meaning out of that. So let me give you an example which might make this a little bit clearer. So I was given up for adoption at birth. My birth mother was very young. She couldn't keep me, so she had to give me up. Now, I was very fortunate to be adopted by incredible parents. My parents were amazing. But as a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, I remember very distinctly one day standing outside our house, and one of my brothers was there, an older brother, and I was probably being a pesky little sister. And he said to me, if you don't smarten up, I'm going to tell mom and dad, and they're going to give you away again. And I'm sure if I talked with my brother about this now, he would have no recollection of that. I'm quite convinced of that. But my little 3-year-old, 4-year-old brain latched onto that. And I was very fearful. I was afraid that was going to happen. So I made a decision. And this is the second thing that happened. So we have an experience where we hear something, we hang on to it, and then we make a decision out of it. So the decision I made was, I need to do everything I can not to be given away again. And I decided I'm going to super achieve at everything. I'm going to just be the best I can at everything to guard against that. Wow. And here's the weird thing that happens. So everybody can probably think back. You have to do a little bit of digging sometimes, but you think back, and it usually first happens around those critical years, 3, 4, 5 years old. Someone may have said something, someone may have done something, you may have seen something or experienced something, and it's had an impact, and you've created a story about it. Yeah. And then the story kind of runs your life. And for most of us, we're unaware of it. It's happening almost on a subconscious level. So how it manifested in my life was, I went through just, trying to super achieve at everything I could. And it let me, achieve some wonderful things, but it also prevented me from really celebrating any achievements I had, because right away I have to get on to the next thing. So it often has a very detrimental impact on our lives. If we're willing to stop and really look at the stories that run our lives, that's certainly the first step. But it's amazing in how many ways this will show up. So we come back to your beautiful women standing in the change room. She's wearing a gorgeous outfit. You picked it out for her. She looks incredible, but she doesn't see it because she's got a story that says, I'm not good enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not young enough. I'm not lovable. I'm not valuable. So any kind of variation on those themes, that shows up a lot. And of course, when we reach certain periods in our lives, like midlife, where we're experiencing a whole lot of transitions, children have grown up often, and they're out on their own. So our identities around parenting changes. Our bodies are going through this incredible transformation, perimenopause and menopause. That can be quite devastating for a lot of women. It's a time sometimes when relationships are tested, and we may be experiencing relationship changes. So it's a real time when it can feel like the ground we're standing on is shifting, it's unstable. And so those are the times when these stories really come out more prominently. So the woman standing looking amazing, but looking herself in the mirror and not seeing that, is she's got a story that says, as I said, those things: I'm not valuable, I'm not thin enough, young enough, or whatever. And it can be really devastating because it is just a story. It's not true. It's not true. So you can be in the change room looking at her and saying, you look amazing. And I know you, Annette, you're not someone that would just say that. You're so authentic and genuine. If she didn't look amazing, you would say, I'm going to just change this. I'm going to adjust this. We'll take this in a bit, and you'll keep at it until she does look amazing. But as long as that story is running, she won't see it for herself.
Yeah.
And that's a real tragedy. That's a real tragedy.
And that's what you do so beautifully with women. And, you know, as I work with women and, you know, that inner beauty, I mean, I so believe in that when you don't acknowledge that, you're never going to feel fully beautiful on the outside until you acknowledge that, you know, who you are, that you are beautiful, that you have some amazing strengths, that you don't need to prove yourself. And it does show up in interesting different ways. And, you know, as I talk about, and this has happened to so many women, and I'm not pointing out that it's just this one woman, is that it can, you know, I'm losing my train of thought here, is seeing ourselves in a different way. You know, I'm gonna oh, actually, what I started to say is I didn't want to pick on this one, that if that's only what you do, because we all do it. My thing, I so vividly remember, mine was my thighs. I hated my thighs. And, you know, this is kind of a, again, a generalization, but most women either carry their weight in their tummy area or they carry their weight in their legs. And so whether it's your tummy or whether it's your legs. And so it is, this is where I was going with this. As I share with clients and as we're standing there and they're getting so hyper focused on that thing they don't like about themselves, I have to remind them, and I know it's hard, but it is so true, is people look at you as a whole. I am not looking at you and going, oh my gosh, look at her tummy, that tummy pooch. We are not doing that. And, you know, it does take time to get over that. And I say that with my thighs. I was obsessed as I was in my 20s, and I was in dance groups, and I would compare my thighs to other women because they had the thinner legs and I had the, you know, again, carried my weight in my hips and my legs. And I don't even think about it. And I was like, oh, I wish I had those thighs that when I was complaining. So it does take some self-work, if you will, to kind of that acceptance of yourself, would you say?
Oh, definitely. There's no question. And it's not something that we can expect necessarily will transform overnight. It usually takes a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, and we need to be gentle with ourselves. But it's so true. And so when you think back to how you were feeling, you couldn't probably take a compliment because in your mind you're thinking, oh yeah, but my thighs, you know. And what a shame that is. So two things happen when we'll deflect the compliments, you know.
Yes,
It's
I
like we
love
have a
that.
shield or the Wonder Woman bracelets. We deflect those. Two things happen. One, we don't let the compliment land, so we don't receive it properly. And we women, that's one of the things. The feminine energy is all about receiving, nurturing, receiving.
Oh, yeah.
But the second thing is we deprive the person giving the compliment of that joy of seeing you light up for giving a compliment. So you're stripping that person of a little bit of happiness. And if you say, you know, if you don't deflect, but you return the compliment right away, the same thing happens. Like you're not just letting the compliment land and receiving it and basking in it a little bit. So
Oh,
I would invite women, if someone gives you a compliment, just take a second and then say, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. And then stop. Don't return the compliment. Don't deflect. Don't say, oh yeah, but what about this? Didn't you notice, this thing on my sleeve?
yes,
It's not quite right.
but.
Yes.
Oh, I love that you brought that up about compliments, because oh my gosh, that's a huge thing too. And it is, like you said, it's so about a giving and receiving and accepting. And how many times does a woman say, you go, oh my gosh, I love that necklace, as I'm looking at yours right now, Kip, it's beautiful. And you go, oh, you know what? I just picked that up at Target. It was really cheap. And we deflect it, or oh, that old thing, right? Instead of
Yeah.
just, yes, thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you. I love that you brought that up, because that is the whole compliment. That could be another whole topic, right?
Well, it could, but it's
About,
just another manifestation of the story that we tell ourselves. And again, if that's the script that's running constantly in the background, I'm not good enough, I'm not valued, I'm not, I'm invisible, I'm not seen, you're never going to be able to accept compliments that are kindly and genuinely given. And for some women, this is a huge, huge barrier for them to overcome. I mean, everyone can, and it's really as simple as just making a decision. I want to start feeling better about myself. And here's one small way I can do it. It's with language. It's with the language I'm using. If someone compliments me for today, if I receive a compliment, I'm just going to say, thank you. That's lovely. I really appreciate it. Full
oh,
stop.
and that's big.
It really is.
As trivial as it sounds, I think it's really big on creating that self-acceptance, that self-respect, and raising your confidence, right? This is called
Yeah.
being seen with confidence. And I
Mhm.
think that is like a huge, just something little that makes a big difference.
Definitely. And there's so many little ways like that we undermine our confidence. We chip away at it.
Yes.
We're
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
often much harder on ourselves than other people are. Though some people have been in an environment or are in an environment in which they're getting negative feedback, and so then I would invite them to consider, is that an environment you want to stay in? I would say no, but that takes some unpacking too. But there are just so many little ways that we harm ourselves. And I think part of it is there's a comfort level. It's familiar to us, we're used to it, so we keep doing it, and doing something different can feel scary
Yes.
until you actually try it and you see it's not only is it not scary, it actually feels really good. Oh my, I like getting the compliment.
Oh, that's beautiful. No, I loved where we kind of went with this whole compliment thing. It's really good. So, if you're watching today and you are loving, I would love, what can you relate to? I'd love for you to comment below. Maybe what you struggle with, if you can relate to the compliment or the tummy pooch or the thighs, whatever that might be for you. So as we give the amazing successful woman who's watching this video right now, is what would you like to leave her with? And I know that you have like a 3-step system that they could, like, immediately, how could they take this and just really elevate their confidence in being seen? What might you suggest?
Well, yeah, definitely. The first thing is the awareness. So pay attention to the things that you're saying to yourselves, and the way you're responding to the things that other people say to you. So and so this awareness, it might be as simple when a thought arises. I'm standing in front of a mirror, I'm looking at this new outfit I'm considering purchasing, and all I can think about are my thighs. The thought arises, oh, it doesn't look any good on me because my thighs. When you notice that, then just say, oh, I'm noticing that thought. This is what's called meta awareness, being aware of the thinking. So there's the thinking, and then there's awareness of the thinking. So that meta awareness, really, that's the key. And once you notice, then you can just say, hello, old friend. haven't well, I wouldn't say I haven't seen you for a while. You've been around a lot lately. It's probably more like it. Hello, old friend. I don't need you right now. Thank you for showing up, but I actually don't need you right now. So the first step, it's awareness, recognizing when we're doing this, when our self-talk is negative, or when we're deflecting compliments that others might give us. Just two examples. The second is acceptance. And so that's really about being intentional about not letting the story dictate how things will go. So, okay, I've had this story. It's been running my life for a while. It's not serving me anymore. It's actually hurting me. And so again, thanks for showing up. I don't need you right now. It's not about beating ourselves up. It's not about making ourselves wrong. There's no blame. There's no shame. It's just awareness and intentionality. Okay, I see this. I accept it. I accept it. This has been going on, and that's okay. Knowing that, now what I can do is I can take an action, which is as simple as creating a different story. So if I have the story running that I'm not worthy because my thighs, if I've created that story and I think about how powerfully that story has been running my life, the decisions I make, the way I think about myself, the way I interact with other people because of it, there are so many ways it'll show up. So if I'm aware of it, the action I take is I'm going to create a different story. My thighs are a beautiful reminder of the children I bore. I gave birth to two beautiful girls. They're the love of my life. I adore them. And my thighs are a constant reminder of that love and that gift and the wonderful relationship I have with my girls. So it might be something like that. It's just changing our language, changing the story so that we feel better about ourselves, because it is so subjective. It's so subjective. If you look back at art from centuries ago, the woman's figure that was most revered was voluptuous. She had curves. She had rolls of fat on her. She looked healthy. She looked vibrant. She looked rosy. So we've gotten to this point in society where being thin is what's valued, and it's so unhealthy because it's like the smallest percentage of population are actually that size. Most of us are not. And who gets to decide what's the right size for me? I would rather do that. I would rather create the story that I am beautiful and perfect in my imperfections. I'm perfectly imperfect. I'm fine with that. And so I'm always looking for ways I can take action. So again, first step, awareness. Second one, acceptance. And then third, action, which is just, I'm just going to say something different to myself. I'm going to use a different story now for the rest of my life that empowers me, that makes me feel good, that lets me receive as I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes. I love everything that you just shared. And I'm gonna, we've been talking about the story, and I even want to take it back. Even another simple is sometimes it's just the word we use. I mean, how often do I hear women talk about being frumpy? I mean, it's like, take that out of your vocabulary, because that word becomes a story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure. It's just so interesting how those little things kind of lead to the big. Yeah.
It's true.
So,
And we will find evidence for whatever we hold on to. If my belief is that I'm frumpy, I will find evidence everywhere of that. I will disregard evidence to the contrary. 10 of my friends can tell me how amazing I look, but if I feel frumpy, I won't hear it. And I'll hear the one person that said, you're not looking like your usual self today. I'll latch on to that one. So creating a different story using different language, then transforms everything.
So just to kind of wrap this up of what we've talked about, what kind of journey do you take women on? I mean, what's usually going on is a woman needs somebody to kind of guide her and help her through what kind of is going on, if you will, mentally, from that mindset.
Yes, that's exactly it. And so that's where I start. And I work with clients individually because we're all unique. There are some commonalities for sure that I see, but I like to work with each of my clients and just help each one realize, first of all, that there is a story. So we maybe go back and look a little bit at that, but I don't spend too much time in the past. It's just to develop a bit of awareness. It's more about looking forward. What's the vision you want to have for your life? Do you want to have the amazing relationship with a an awesome partner, with children, with extended family, with friendships? Do you want to feel vibrant and stylish? Do you want to perhaps pivot into a new career that you love? So it's whatever is your vision for yourself. Then we said, okay, then let's find out how we can get from here to there. And the starting point is usually our own thoughts, our own language. That's so foundational. And then we build on that and develop lots of forward momentum so that the clients can start to realize their dreams and get out of that downward spiral of feeling invisible and not worthy and not good enough, because it just isn't true. It just is not true.
Yes. And I loved that I talked about what's that vision for your life. And, we talked about being, whether it's that passion or you're wanting to you're stepping into a new chapter and you want to be seen more, or you're starting a new position, or maybe you're retiring. Like you said, what was the wording you used in the middle years about where you're at? And, kind of just to piggyback off that, I love, one of the things that I love even telling women myself is, I want to help you to look as good on the outside as you feel on the inside. So, many times I know myself, I have been doing self-development for, I say right now, 30 years, at least 30 years, self-development. And many times it doesn't matter where you are in life, or there's no age, right? That sometimes we all need to keep working on it. It's never done. It's never finished, if you will.
No,
And
we're in a process of becoming, I think. We're always in a process of becoming.
Yes. We're evolving. I mean, I even say with style is, I'm wearing different things than when I started my business. I'm wearing, hey, to be seen. Hey, this took courage when I first purchased this dress. I'm going to be honest. I remember seeing it online and going, oh my God, it's so bright. It's so bright. And then if you've noticed, over the last couple of years, it's been a color that's been very on trend. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get it. But it does sometimes, to be seen and be noticed, it takes courage, and it takes owning who you are to be able to rock a certain color. So, and I'm not saying you have to wear a bright pink to be seen. I am not saying that whatsoever, but you do need to have courage many times to wear it. I do agree with that. So.
Well, and you look stunning. You look absolutely stunning, Annette. So your journey to getting to the hot pink colors, it didn't happen overnight. As I said, it was a progression. And so that's maybe one thing to leave with our audience is it doesn't mean you have to engage in a wholesale transformation too quickly. That could feel scary and overwhelming. No, we start small, we gradually build, you feel some confidence, and then we build on that. And so it's this beautiful kind of reiterative process of ever expanding self-confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are, I want to give a special gift, and, I'm going to combine, because you and I are both involved, and Kip is the hostess with the mostest about what she is offering that is going to be so amazing. And tell us a little bit about the Wild and Wise Women Over 50 workshop. And it's coming up in July. We're starting the signups now.
Yeah, so it will piggyback onto a masterclass. I'm hosting a masterclass which launches on July 4 and runs for 2 weeks. So from July 4 to July 17. It's called Wild and Wise Women Over 50. And so what I'm offering your audience is a free ticket to the post masterclass 1-day workshop, the Wild and Wise Women Over 50 workshop. And in that, we'll be doing a deep dive into some of the topics that have been covered during the masterclass. And I'll have a chance to work with individuals that come to the workshop. We'll just talk about the things that are most important to women in these middle years. We'll have a little bit of fun with it, and hopefully there'll be a lot of good learning and a little bit of transformation too.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. And as part of the summit, I'm going to be teaching a session on more alive with color. So I'll be giving out all that information. There'll be links in all the show notes and where you can be part of that. And just thank you again, Kip, for being here. I love this conversation. And I think it doesn't matter what age you are, it doesn't matter what size you are. We all are affected by it. So thank you again. And I just want to leave everybody to remember that style begins with the woman and not the clothes.